My La Liga prediction for 22-23 season was so wrong. Last season, ESPN FC made a video reflecting what will happen in La Liga. I made a reaction video on that, and unfortunately, many of my predictions went so wrong. So today, we are going to react to that reaction video and reflect what went wrong.
Luis Garcia, your picks for La Liga this season are as follows. You've got Barcelona winning it.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Well, I think that at the moment, and again, we are not going to talk again about what Barcelona have done and if they registered or not all the players. I think that on paper, I think that, I agree totally with Craig that Xavi's got a lot of pressure, he's got a lot of things to prove, and of course, he hasn't had the experience that all the managers have been working for many years. But I think that he's got a Ferrari at the moment, he needs to drive it, and if he drives as well, he should be on the top of La Liga next season. Atletico Madrid is one of those teams that is going to surprise once again. I think the last year it was a bit confusing. I think the Joao Felix is going to turn up once again, Griezmann as well, and
suddenly Joao Felix will be playing superb. He's one of my favorite players at Atletico Madrid. One player of Atletico Madrid that I want in Real Madrid is Joao Felix. However, being said that, he was overhyped. He is yet to show what he's capable of. And Griezmann, who is almost non-existent, I don't think you should expect anything from Griezmann. That ship is sailed. At least for Barcelona's defense, you can say, I agree with you that on paper, at least their front three looks a little bit more dangerous than Real Madrid. However, being said that, don't sleep on Real Madrid's front trio. Vinicius will be much better than last year, in my opinion. And Rodrigo is the one who needs to up his game. Once he's done that, no one is going to stop Real Madrid's team.
So many points to untangle. First of all, I was right about Joao Felix that he would not be as great as he predicted. However, where I was totally wrong about Griezmann, because if you look at Griezmann's stat, 15 goals and 16 assists, in my opinion, he's the best player in La Liga this season. Honestly, I didn't expect Griezmann to get his form back. I also predicted Vinicius and Rodrigo will get better. They actually did get better, but Vinicius' stats, if you see, last year he scored 17 goals, so statistically, it's downgrade.
Do a great job. I think they're going to be back again to the Atletico Madrid we all know, being very compact, very well organized at the back and getting results. And I think that even though that Rudiger is a fantastic player at the back to help Real Madrid, that Tchouaméni, Camavinga, they're going to be fantastic replacement into the middle to give fresh legs to this Real Madrid midfield. I think there is not going to be enough once again to get all the trophies. I think there is going to be a long season with a World Cup in between. You have to count with that, and I think that they are not going to have the depth in their squad to compete in every single competition, including the World Cup, with a lot of players getting involved. So
one of the reasons he gave why he picked Real Madrid will be third in La Liga is also the World Cup. Isn't it all the teams have some players that will play for World Cup? Atletico has players who will play for World Cup. Barcelona has players who will play for World Cup. Not just Real Madrid, but for somehow he's suggesting that Real Madrid players will suffer because of World Cup, but not other teams. What kind of logic is that? He also said Tchouaméni and Rudiger are not enough for Real Madrid to compete in La Liga. This Real Madrid team won La Liga and Champions League. Now, given you add these two players who are phenomenal at their position, this Real Madrid team will be better than last year. Who did Atletico got that so that they'll be better than Real Madrid? Also, he said Xavi has Ferrari. It's not about having Ferrari. You have to know how to drive Ferrari. I mean, Xavi has shown his potential in certain matches against even Real Madrid. However, there was some time he has shown that he's inexperienced.
Again, my prediction was that World Cup will affect every team equally. However, it wasn't the case. Because if you look back, our performance before World Cup in La Liga was good. After World Cup, a lot of our players lost their form. For example, Fede Valverde, especially in La Liga. Tchouaméni was playing superb before World Cup. After World Cup, his form dipped significantly. Also, I was wrong about Xavi. Although he has failure in Champions League, in La Liga, he has shown some of his capabilities. Despite not playing great, he was able to win.
Also, two other points. Lewandowski as a top goal scorer, that's entirely possible. In my opinion, that's will be either Benzema or Lewandowski. If you pick Lewandowski over Benzema, that's totally fine because that's possible. On the other hand, as a Real Madrid fan, we might pick Benzema. That's also fine. But the shocking inclusions that shocked me was that Pedri as a player of the year. There's no doubt about his potential as a player. But to say he will be player of the year, that's a little bit might be far-fetched.
I predicted Benzema or Lewandowski will top the goal scorer, and Lewandowski was the top goal scorer. But where I was totally right that Pedri will not be player of the tournament.
In terms of what I think is going to happen, I am concerned about Real Madrid and Karim Benzema and a World Cup and the potential of Karim Benzema somehow being injured or unavailable to Real Madrid.
Benzema dependency for Real Madrid. That's a good point. But if we take that logic, if we apply that theory, can't we also apply for Barcelona? I think they'll be dependent on Lewandowski. Think about if Lewandowski gets injured, who's going to score those goals for Barcelona? It's for every team. When Messi was at Barca, when Messi was injured, they were struggling to score goals. That's what happens when you have a big star player. And that is applicable to every team. Why you are just applying for Real Madrid only? Why not for Barca?
So again, I was wrong about Benzema because Benzema didn't play as good as last year. Last season, he had the best season ever for Real Madrid. So I expected because he was playing so great, maybe this season he'll be better. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. On my defense, Lewandowski also lost his form after World Cup.
He was so critically important to their success last year, and we saw time and time again that whenever he was out, there was no answer. And Eden Hazard is not the answer, won't be the answer. So I don't...
Eden Hazard wasn't the answer, but won't be the answer. How do you say that? We have seen from the friendly match that he's not ideal as a false nine. However, how come you make a conclusions based on only 2 or 3 games? When a player plays in a new position, he needs more time than 3 games.
So this is probably the most embarrassing prediction that I made. I trusted Hazard so much. Again, he is one of my favorite players, so I was always rooting for him no matter what.
Karim Benzema having quite the same season that he had last year, and in that drop-off, I think Real Madrid comes back to the crowd.
Okay, why do you say Benzema will drop off his performance? Based on what? I think Benzema will be better than last year. At least give us some explanation why you think so.
Holy, I can't say anything here because he was so right. He predicted that Benzema will dip his form, and he was right because this season Benzema did not play poor because he scored 31 goals and he has 6 assists. But if you compare that stat compared to previous season, that's a dip. This season Benzema missed many matches because of injury, because of being cautious about injury, and his form was inconsistent. Some big matches he was missing.
Barcelona, with the new additions and the new players, takes a jump up. Barcelona finishes first, Real Madrid finishes second, and then Atletico Madrid, they'll finish third, but nowhere near the top 2, but really not threatening from anybody behind them because I just don't think that the trailing pack is going to be good enough to trouble Atletico Madrid. They'll finish third.
There are a lot of assumptions from LA about injury to Real Madrid player, especially for Benzema. Can we apply the same logic to Barcelona? Have we not seen Barcelona last season? A good number of players from Barcelona were injured. Fati, Ipe, Pedri, even Dembele, who was fit only 1 season so far, who is totally injury prone. A Barca team who is full of players who might be injured more likely than Real Madrid, and you're assuming that they'll be fit, but we have to wait to see what will happen.
So regarding whose players will get more likely to get injured compared to Barca and Real Madrid, I was kind of right because Barca players got more injury than Real Madrid players this season. A lot of their vital players, like main players, Dembele and Pedri was injured. We had less injury, but however, on the hindsight, I think the difference between Barca and us was the squad depth. Barca had way better squad depth than us. Another reason why Real Madrid lost La Liga this season is that lack of motivation. If you compare the motivation level of Barca players compared to Real Madrid players, Barca had more motivation to win La Liga. As a result, they won the La Liga. When it comes to predictions, sometimes you are right, sometimes you are wrong.